Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer, and this is a quick blurb on an interesting development as regards to Air India. It affects Air India, and in my opinion, this is an offshoot of the settlement that the Indian government did with Cairn Energy, CAIRN Energy, and I think this company, Devas Multimedia, thinks that they can suitably or similarly attach the assets of Air India and AAI, Airport Authority of India, and get paid for their money, for the money that the Indian government owes them. To understand a little bit of this, let's go back to who are the two players here. Devas Multimedia Private Limited. I think this company is incorporated in the United States, although I could not be sure because I don't understand how Canada came into the picture. But let me just give you the timeline so you understand what happened. On October 27, 2020, a US court awarded $1.2 billion damages to Devas Multimedia and against Antrix. Antrix, or Antrix, is the commercial wing of ISRO, or the Indian Space and Research Organization. Now, this is where it gets interesting. On November 6, 2020, the Indian Supreme Court stayed the US court order of award of $1.2 billion. Speaking for the government, K.K. Venugopal, the Attorney General, argued that this whole deal between Devas, a group of ex-ISRO scientists settled perhaps in the United States, have made with Antrix, wherein the whole thing was a sham according to the government. And here is why they are saying that. They are saying that this whole contract under which Devas was supposed to supply satellites to Antrix was done in such a way that the requirement for the particular delivery of satellites was tailored to suit just one vendor. You know, sometimes when you put out a tender, you can make it in such a way, you could put a few clauses here and there. Remember Augusta Westland, it was similar, wherein it only favors one vendor and that one vendor ends up getting the contract. So that was something like that is what the KK Venugopal argued in the Indian Supreme Court. So what was the deal? The deal was entered between Devas and Antrix was supposed to get these satellites. But when this thing surfaced in 2005, there was a lot, the deal was signed in 2005 when, and it surfaced that it was a scam or a sham in 2010, and during the time the 2G scam was also running. Therefore, this perhaps didn't get as much attention as the other one, but be that as it may, there was this dispute. So Devas Multimedia went back to a US court, argued that they were to have been paid this money when they didn't get paid. So now the Modi government is stuck with the bill. Now in this, all the stuff, now what has happened is, so you had a US court ordering $1.2 billion from ISRO, which is actually government of India because it's a public sector undertaking. And on November 6th, the ISRO got a stay against this US order. What Devas did was they went to a Canadian court, in fact 2 Canadian courts, and they got awards for the non-payment of money. What they argued was, they said Air India is essentially the alter ego of the Indian government, and therefore, since the Indian government is not paying, the assets of Air India and Airport Authority of India, which the IATA holds, to be frozen and paid instead. And the Canadian courts have ruled for Devas Multimedia. They have actually frozen $6.8 million worth money that IATA was holding on behalf of Airport Authority of India. Where does this money come from? See, when planes fly in and out of the Indian airports, there's landing fees, there's fueling fees, and there's also a per seat charge and so on and so forth. So all these things add up. So there is money owed, there is money taken, so on and so forth. So the balance, there was a $6.8 million balance that has been frozen and has been awarded to Devas. Now, as far as Air India's assets are concerned, there appear to be some assets in Canada which the company wants to be liquidated and be paid. So how is the Indian government going to tackle this minefield? Are they going to appeal the order of these two courts in Canada to a higher court in Canada and also say, wait a minute, the original settlement itself is stayed until that gets stay is vacated? We cannot do anything, and convince the higher court in Canada to not pay? Or is this going to come to a point where the Modi government will say, okay, this is giving us a lot of negative publicity, but let's just settle and move on? Unfortunately, this is not a problem of the Modi government's making. This is a UPA classic problem. Remember that UPA, even in Augusta Westland, they tailored the specifications, the requirement in such a way that only one would qualify. I mean, these guys were able to make money from every rock, from every piece of transaction they did. The most corrupt government. Unfortunately, I've been saying this for a long time, writing about it on PGurus, but I'm still waiting to see some action. Okay, that's a different matter. So now on this particular case, what is the Modi government going to do? We'll have to wait and see, but I think this is the beginning of a very long story. Do like, share and subscribe to our channel. This is our second channel of PGurus, and we are trying to promote both channels, and you will understand why there are going to be two channels in the next few weeks. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.